Alright, hello and welcome back to my Retro City Rampage Clone in Unity tutorial. Today we've been doing, as I've been promising for the past God knows how long, we're doing missions. So if I'll give you a quick demo. So if you'll see the M marker there. So if we go over to this guy here that I've set up as like a mission start bit, so I press E. And now you can see we've got an objective and a little exclamation point in the bottom corner of the screen. Now I'll just show you. Basically, in Retro City Rampage, there's like the objective marker. Sort of, if you're near it, like the objective is basically in the screen. It'll get drawn over it, but if it's not, it'll just draw it at the edge of the screen, and that's what I've achieved. So you can see we're going to this car, and it's in the screen, so we can see it. But if we go out of the screen, then it just gets drawn at the edge. And yeah. And then if we go over to here, so now say we've got to this car, we completed the objective, so we now have to go kill the enemies by the building, which is here. So if we just go here, actually I'll use the car here, and see, we spawned enemies. And there's one still there. There's two actually. Yeah. Fuck you. Oh, he's got in the car. Bastard. Yep, they're dead. And I think that'll be the mission finished. So yeah, let's go onto the code and see how... Oh, one more feature I actually added was a little thing little marker to show that you're incognito in a... Fuck you. Oh, gosh. Little marker to show that you're incognito in the... from wanted level. So you'll see that the icon for showing you the wanted level is now a question mark rather than just a line. And now it's nothing. So yeah, I just added that. Now we will get on to the theory, I guess. Okay, so I'm just gonna quickly show of like how the mission. Gonna quickly show how the missions work. Right, so basically, we've got it's like a parent mission, and then within that mission, you'll have different objectives, which is kind of blatant, but whatever. So yeah, and so basically for the objectives, we're going to need to consider what needs to be done. So I'm trying to design it in a way that we can have a variety of objectives that you just like sort of construct in the scene without having to have different scripts, if that makes sense. So say you can have a setting say, oh, we need to go here and kill some enemies, or we need to just go here, or we need to save someone, or whatever. We need to also take into account, all right, so has this objective been started? So, oh, we need to the start point. Is it finished? Do we met the conditions for finishing the objective? And or have we failed the objective? Then we got to creating enemies and stuff for the objective. And then again, and the starting objective. Start location for the objective. So, yeah. And for the mission, we've also got to like keep track of the current objective. So once the objective has been complete, we'll have like an array of the objectives, so we'll increment it once it's done. And if we've reached the end of the mission, and if we finish the last objective, then we'll have finished the mission. Yeah, I think that was it. Shouldn't be anything else, so let's go on to the code. Alright, so now we'll move on to the code of the missions. And so basically we've got two main classes, the objective, well, two main new classes, so the objective and the mission class. And I've also made a few alterations to the controller and the GUI and whatnot, just to, like, what's the word? That was for the displaying of the question mark for the wanted, but yeah. So first off, we've got the three states for the objective started, it's finished, and it's failed. We've got a start location. So this will be where you have to get to start the objective. So once the player is near this location, it will like say spawn the enemies that you need to defeat or whatever. We've got a prefab, just game object for the enemy. So say you could have, I don't know, cops or normal enemies, or you could have like specific. Say if you wanted to have, I don't know, You know how I've got different types of civilians with different what's one? See, has like different. Oh, I don't know what the word would be for. Different sets of sprites, different sprite sheets for NPCs. You could have like a specific version of them if you were trying to tell a story or whatever. So that's what you use prefab for. We just store the enemies in a list that we create for like. Oh, there's a train coming. Sorry. So we store the enemies in a list for when we want to check. All right, are these all dead? So we can say, okay, if they're all dead, the objective's complete. We've got a target. So say if you wanted to have like a target, say you needed to save them because they've been kidnapped or whatever, or you were just trying to get to that position, then that would be you'd set that there. Int for the number of enemies to create, self-explanatory. Boolean just to check that they've been spawned, so we don't spawn infinitely. Just when I spawn them once. I've got a public string for the objective description, which you saw in the game, where it just had a little bit of text saying, "All right, go to the car," or whatever. I've got a public. I've made an enumerator for what we're going to do to the target, which I'll show you here. So basically, an enum is like it makes basically a drop-down list of options that you have. So in this case, it's what we do to the target. So we either kill him, save him, or just get to. And I'll just show you that in the mission. So objective 1. So see how what to do we do to the target. We can kill, save, get to, you know, like that. Yeah. And let's go through the methods now. I've also got the parent mission, which just gets assigned by the mission script, so don't need to worry about that now. And the transform and the player health to check where the player is and have they died. So this is just initializing the variables, just getting them from the game object. So on update, so if we've not failed the objective, so say we're not dead or the target hasn't been destroyed, and we've not finished the objective, we set objective started to have we started this objective, which is here. So basically it just checks if we are within 3 units of the objective start location and the current objective is this objective in the parent mission, then we return true. Otherwise, we return false, so to say that the objective hasn't started. So if we haven't started the if we have started the objective, sorry, and we haven't spawned the enemies yet, we'll call spawn enemies, which is here. So basically, what we do is we go through the we loop like the amount of time for the number of enemies you wanted to create. So this could be 0. If in that case, then we won't spawn any enemies. Get a random position near the objective start location, so within like a 6x6 grid on the X and Y axis, and use that as a position to spawn them. So we assign this to just a game object, so we can reference it to set like the weapon. We just create an enemy, the mission enemy prefab at the position, and just set its rotation to 0, 0, 0, because we don't need to rotate because of how the game works. We set the weapon. We get the weapon controller just so we can set it so the enemy in this case has a pistol. You could like expand this yourself to say you could have another enumerator to decide what kind of weapon the enemy would have. And then we add it to the list for enemies to create and add. And if, say, you just wanted to go to the objective location and just kill a load of enemies, then we will... what's the word? If there's, like, basically, if we're trying to just kill enemies as the what we're doing to the target, but we don't have a target, so say there wasn't a specific NPC you needed to kill, it will just set the first enemy created to be the objective target, just for... you know, I don't know what the word would be, but it'll stop errors appearing, and just so we have an actual target for the objective. And once it's done all this looping, it will set the enemy spawn to true, so it doesn't get recalled in this objective. So now that we've done that, we've got 2 more things that return booleans. So objective finished is have we finished the objective, and objective failed is have we failed the objective. So we'll go for the objective finish first. So have we finished the objective? So basically it's one big if statement which returns Boolean. So first off we check what we do to target is. So if it is get to, so if we're just trying to get to the position, if we're in 1.5 units of the objective. So this could be a game object, it could just be a location that you've set in the inspector or whatever. So if we're near that, it'll return true, otherwise it'll return false, so let's just go into it. If we're trying to save the target, and what we do, for what we do to the target, so basically we'll just loop through all the enemies and check if they're dead. And if any of them don't return the tag, we check the game object's tag for each of the enemies. And if one of them doesn't return dead person, we'll know, all right, one of the enemies is still alive, so we'll return false. And if we can get through this loop without any of it returning false, then it will return true to say that the object is finished. And like just to catch errors, so say one of the enemies had disappeared or despawned or something, then we return false just to stop errors. And if we're trying to kill the targets, so just a group of enemies or whatever, just wait for the train to come past again. So yeah, basically we're attacking if the target's not equal to null. So if we have a target, and if the tag is dead person, so they're dead, then we return true. But if it's not, we return false, so we haven't killed it. Return false. Simple enough. But if the target is null, so that would suggest that if the target is null, so basically, you know how the enemies were set to despawn, so they flash a little bit, and then once they died, and then just get destroyed by the game. That is what happens here. So if the target has been destroyed, it'll be null reference. So if the enemy's spawn boolean is true, so it'll say, all right, we have spawned the enemies, but since it's not here anymore, we're going to assume that the enemy has been destroyed and it's just been cleaned up by the game. So we'll also return true here. Otherwise, we'll return false. And if none of these return, it just returns false. Okay, so that is all from the update function. Now I'll... Oh, no, sorry, I haven't done. Have we failed, have we? Basically... Wait, hold on. So basically, if we're not trying to kill the target, and the target... So say we were trying to protect a person or a car or whatever, and the target is wreck, then we return true. So we say, all right, the target we're supposed to protect is dead, or the car that we're protecting has been destroyed. We return true. We failed the objective. Also, if we're dead, so if the health's less than or equal to 0, we return true because we're dead. Need to implement a restarting mechanic actually, but. But yeah, sorry about that, but so if none of these conditions are met, so say we haven't failed the objective, we return false because we haven't. That's fun. Okay, is there anything else? There's a couple more methods. Basically, we've got a vector free for creating that exclamation mark that appears on the screen when we have. To show you where the objective is, so that just basically returns the objective's location but turned into an X and Y coordinate for the screen, and that is used by the mission script just to sort of show you where the objective is. I'll show you that in a minute. And we also have another method for getting the objective text, which basically just returns a description, which is used by the player. No, I think it's the player GUI script just to draw the text and say, all right, we need to do X or whatever. Okay, now onto the mission script. So we've got an array of mission objectives, which simple enough. We've got the currently active mission. We've got the current objective for this mission, and we've got booleans for mission started, mission finished, and mission failed. We've also got a static bool for on mission, which is basically used so we can make sure that only one mission is active at a time. An objective counter, just so we can keep track of which objective we're on. We've got an objective icon, so that is just the exclamation mark used to navigate to the objective. Yeah, so we set objective parents first of all. So I think that just goes through each of the objectives and sets the parent mission to this mission. And then we just assign in the current objective is the first objective in the array. And the player is the player. Simple enough, really. So if the mission hasn't been started and we're not on a mission, it'll check for input. So if we're near to the start position of the mission, and we're not on a mission currently, and we've pressed E, it basically just starts the mission and sets the currently active mission to being this mission. And if that, so if those conditions are met, then we just stop looking at this and just check the current objective status. So basically we check, so the current objective is the mission objectives counter, and so say if this is like over whatever, or if this is like an out of range exception where they're like, alright, if the mission objective length is 0, it's just saying like you've made a mission without objectives. But if it isn't, then we're assuming, alright, we've got past the number of objectives. We're going to assume that the mission's done. We've got to check, so if the current objective is failed, then the mission is failed, and we just basically stops the mission, so our mission is false. And if we finished the objective, so if the objective finished is true, there we go. All right, so we're incrementing, and so if we're if we've not got to the end of the mission objectives array, then we increment the objective counter. Else we just set the mission to completed to true, and our mission is false, and currently active mission is null, so we can go and start another mission somewhere. All right, we've also passed this. We've got a current objective text, so this basically just gets the current objectives objective text, so like say go to the car or whatever, and that's used just to pass it up to the player GUI, which uses the static mission reference we had here, and that's assigned when we start the mission. And yeah, and here's the on GUI code. So basically we're getting the screen position of the objective as an X and Y coordinate. So that might be more than the boundaries of the screen if it's not being rendered at the moment. So if that's the case, we just set it to the edge of the screen in the direction that we should go. So say if I think it's if it's the screen position .x is more than the screen width, it'd be to the left of you. Then we just set it to the screen.width minus 40, so there's a little gap between the screen edge and the icon. So that would suggest, all right, you need to go to the right, because I said the wrong word. I 20 fucking years old, I still don't know my lefts and rights. But whatever. For the same, if the X position of this, the objective, is less than 0, then it'll be 40, so that'll be on the left side of the screen. And if neither of these conditions are met, we're assuming, all right, the camera can see the objective, so we just use whatever coordinates we've been passed. And we have a similar thing for Y, but in this case, we just take into account that, all right, the top 200 pixels of the screen will be taken up by the GUI, so the map, the health bar, the weapon icons, and whatnot. So we use 240 rather than 0. And if the position on the Y is less than 0, we use screen.height minus 40, because I think it's kind of weird how the screen works, because I think it goes from the top of the screen is 0. So as you go down the screen, the Y value will increase. So, but if you go down from the player, the Y value of the person or objective or game objective or whatever decreases. So that is why if the position is less than 0, it's screen.height -40. I think. And then again, if the if it isn't met, either of these conditions isn't met, it just uses the screen position minus the screen.height and multiplies that by -1 to get the correct value. So yeah, and then it just draws this texture and it creates a rect from these coordinates that we've got and draws the texture. So that's pretty simple. And on the player GUI, basically we use the on mission, if the static bool on mission. So if you see, if this is true, then the player, the GUI script will just draw the objective text, and it'll just has a second check to make sure, all right, we're on the mission, but the mission isn't null, so we'll draw the objective text. And then again, we got also added in a new code to check from the wanting controller, which we've had, are we incognito? So basically this just returns, have we just collected one of those wanted reducing coins? So if that's true, it'll draw the incognito icon, which is just a little question mark. But if not, it'll just draw the normal wanted bar icon. And we have a similar code for just the simpler GUI bit as well. I think that's it. Do we? I think I wrote. Oh yeah, there was. I think this is the change I made. There was recursive crashes from having this in the catch statement. So basically, if you went into a building and it despawned all the chunks, it didn't end well. It just kept calling it because it couldn't find any currently active traffic points. So I've basically changed that to return null, just so it doesn't actually spawn anything. Which is good. So yeah, that was the code, and hopefully that wasn't too long. Okay, so now I'm just going to quickly show you how the objectives and stuff are assembled. So as you can see, we've got a mission here, so we've got that assigned to a game object, which acts the position you go to start it. We've got a map icon, which again is only rendered on the GUI icon, so you only see it on the mini-map. And we've also got the 2 objectives for the mission on the stored. We've just got to assign the icon to draw where you need to go to. But you could have like a custom icon if you want for different missions or whatnot. Same for the map icon. You could have like different coloured for different mission strands or a different letter. You know, like how Grand Theft Auto has like the initials of the character you're doing a mission for. But whatever. So I'll just quickly show you how this works. So basically, our objective start location is the debugger mortal car. So basically that just it's a mortal car and you need to get to that. So if you get within 1.5 units in of the car, then you have to get to it. That's the objective completed, sorry. Yeah. And say if you were to destroy the car, because it's not technically immortal, it just has like 10,000 health, which would take a while, but you could, then that would fail the mission. Now, we're not creating any enemies because we just want to get to the car, even though we have the prefab for IPC, but whatever. We've assigned the thing to get to the car, and in the description, just get to the car. Simple. So I'll just show you that. So in practice, actually I'll do that after, because that'll be the final showcase bit. Yeah. Okay, so now I'll show you the mission again once it loads in. So if we go up to the little M icon on the minimap, we'll press E, start the mission, and it'll display the objective there. We'll get the little arrow in the bottom corner, so saying the mission objective is like in the bottom right corner of this chunk, sorry. So if we like walk down this way, the little objective marker will stay on the y-axis, so saying if we head right from here, we'll get to it, but it also works the same. So see, we can see the car, and but if we also do it, we can also do it on the x-axis. So see, we need to go down from here, and hit presto, we're at the car. We've finished the objective. Just show you that proof. See, we've finished the objective, and now we can go and get to this objective. It spawns the enemies, all 5 of them, and we can just run them over, but they try and get into cars to kill us. I think one of them does. One of them should follow us anyway. I think there's one more enemy somewhere. But yeah, that's pretty much the principle of it. So yeah, cheers for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. Got any tips or improvements or errors you've spotted if you're following along, then give us a shout. Go play Loud or Quiet, which should be updated soon. I need to make a trailer for it because I wanted to try making a trailer because I've got new levels and new mechanics and stuff. What else? Yeah, I've got a new series starting soon because I'm making a procedurally generated roguelike for my university final year project. So that will be something I will be showing you, like my progress as I make it, which will be fun. So yeah, cheers for watching and goodbye.